father had one of 1911. Well, they had everything. Because they hunted for food, they had shotguns, they had 30-30 Winchesters, they had all the stuff, you know, click, click. They had all those 45s, 1911, you know, those old 45s, the style of what they have now. But nobody killed. You know how people would get killed? The kids would find their daddy's gun and they would be playing. And no grown folks got killed, but it was all poor little kids. Because remember, all the kids had cap guns. Everybody, when you got a Christmas present, it was guns. America was gun crazy. That's the only gift you're going to get. If you're a boy, you're going to get a gun, and a girl going to get a doll. That's it. Right? I mean, everybody, when you was out playing, you had your cap guns on, and you had, later on, they started looking a little real.
BB gun.
BB guns? Can you imagine how sick we was? Little kids. We had BB guns. You know what we would do? Shoot birds. Bird ain't did nothing to nobody. But we would shoot birds. All the kids. Just, you know, because you're used to shooting. When you see something flying by, you're ready, even in your mind, you're ready to aim at it and shoot it. But the murder rate was low. Why? Because the ethics was there. Right? Therefore, I'm not NRA and nothing. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. As dumb as that sounds, that's actually true. So, somebody wants to take all the guns from the people. And that's not the only thing they want to do. There's a lot of other things, you know. Eventually people come to the understanding that our society is managed. Right? It's managed. You can't have all these millions of people running around, now billions, right, without the society being managed. Okay, who's going to manage the society? The people that have all the money and all the power. And that power and that wealth is going to be concentrated in fewer and fewer hands. What we have now, what we just want to watch, among other things, is when this blows over, where's all the money going? Remember the concentration of wealth, concentration of resources? You know who always wins in a downturn on the economy? The big rich people. Why? They got enough money over here. I have $1 million business. When it goes flats, I can pick it up for $50,000, maybe $25,000. I take whatever you give me, and now I got that business. Then I build up the stocks again and all that. You know, there's 10-year fluctuations. Then I'll crash the economy again. They will crash the economy. And what do? Same thing always. It's like a harvest. They plant the seeds all the time. They build people up, and then they cut them right down. Right? Every time, all the time. And the money, once you get locked in, that's why revolutions is necessary. Now, Thomas Jefferson felt that they should have a revolution every 20 years because he felt that people get to game the system. After the system is in motion and you learn all the rules, all that, and you got enough money, after 20 years, you learn how to game that system. You know, imagine the American system been here all of this time, a couple hundred years, 250 years, something like that. The people are going to figure out how to game it. Who can game it? The people that wrote it and made it, right? And they're always going to, they got it set so they'll always be in power. The only time people can gain some freedom is when the people at the top fight each other a little bit. Like World War I and World War II. World War I was over resources of the world. Guess what? England and France took everything in the world. They had all these colonies. That was Belgium, Congo, and a few other places. Europeans controlled all of Africa except one or two places. All of it. Asia. Everybody, the whole world was colonized by Europe. Okay? Y'all might have heard of Bismarck. I didn't mean to go on all this, but I might as well continue. Bismarck from Germany, 1880s, 1885, Chancellor of Germany, hooked Germany up. Now, Germany always been bad. The Germans are goose-stepping big old, they're mechanical white folks. They don't mind a little goose-stepping. You know, if you leave them alone, they'll goose-step all over the world. In fact, you look in Europe right now, World War II, Germany was destroyed. But who runs Europe? The Germans. The Germans. They run Europe. You get your Mercedes-Benz, you get all the best stuff comes from Germany. Then the other is Japan. Japan was considered not honorary white folks, but they used to call the Japanese the white folks of Asia. They were brutal. What they did in China, 1930s, all of it, they brutal. So, World War I was about colonies. Germany was getting big and strong, and they was basically saying to the British, hey, y'all gotta, and the French, y'all gotta give us, yeah, you gotta give us, you gotta share this stuff. You got the whole world. You got out ahead of us and you're running and stuck your thing and everything, and hey man, we ain't going for that. And pretty soon, it all came out. Germany, and then the decline in power. If you heard of the sick man of Europe, the Ottoman Empire, the Ottomans ruled the world for a long time. We talked about that before. Their greatest victory might have been the seeds of their great defeat. But anyway, them and the Germans. So the Germans and them lost. Then here come World War II. Why is World War II? It's because of World War I. You know, it was World War I. They lost, the Germans lost, so they charged them money and made them pay everything. And then the U.S. is so mean, they would loan the Germans money to pay back the British, so the British and all of them could pay them. So there's really a lot of dirty stuff going on. The point is, we can't live in a world like that now. There's too much science, engineering. One or two people can organize themselves with a couple of computers, and they can do so much harm to the world. So we have to live in a world that either controls that means absolute dictatorship. I mean, we have to live what we're living in kind of now, but heading towards real dictatorship. Facial recognition. Do you know, when I was, we was rebelling in the 60s. Do you know we had 10 times the freedom then that you have now? 10 times. I mean, the freedom that we had black neighborhoods. In fact, by the 80s, early 80s, they're saying we made a mistake about integration. You could go get a Social Security card at this place. You could go get you didn't even need a birth certificate. Why, in those old days, people didn't have birth certificates, but you could go take somebody to the passport office and say, this man was born. That's it. That's how you got your passport. In the late 60s and early 70s, they didn't start changing that stuff to the 80s and all that. But you had the freedom with all of those things. Of course, Jim Crow, I mean, you may not live that long, but you could at least get a passport. But guess what? Negroes didn't have passports. Here's the thing. We live in a world right now that the balance will tip toward global lockdown or evolutionary liberation a type of freedom. Okay, now we live in a world too that we get a chance to play a part in that. That's why we're here today. We're here because we want to play in the part of this global transformation. The world is changing. Our analysis is, of course, each one have their own analysis, but our analysis is either we develop a new world, and in that new world we have science, engineering, and technology. Right now, all the psychologists, where are they at? They work for the big companies, right? To sell junk to us. The people that started this back in the 20s, Edward Bernays, that's old psychologist, what's the old white man in Europe?
Sigmund Freud.
Freud, that's Freud's nephew, right? That's Sigmund Freud's nephew. They changed everything from needs to wants. You know why? Before the 1920s, they could only produce enough. You didn't go and say, I want a such and such. You would just say, I need certain things. The world was based on needs, not wants. I wanted this. Now when you go shopping, man, I want the one with this, and I want this. It's what your mind say, and that's what it is. You don't need that. You can't wear the clothes you got at home now. You can't wear the shoes. You can't wear them. So when you go shopping for what you want, not what you need. Right? They had, in the 20s, production had caught up now. Hey, we got so much stuff now. We're going to shift this to wants, not needs. And we're going to shift the whole program. Layaway programs. You know, 100 years ago when you bought a house, you had to buy it. They didn't have no payment plans. You couldn't lay away nothing. After a while, when you could go say, man, let me have those things, and I want to put it on layaway. Put it back there, and I pay you when I pay you a certain percentage of the money, then I get the product. All that's newish. When you bought something, you had to save the money to buy it. You couldn't buy nothing on the long-range plan like they have now. Everything is on the long-range plan. You ever counted up the long-range plan? If you buy a house for $100,000, payments, $300,000. 2/3 you pay for riba. The first 20 years, you're not paying the principal, you're paying the interest. That's why smart people nowadays, they pay the principal down. So they get to the house, you know what I mean, a 30-year loan or 15-year loan is better. But who can afford that, right? So you pay down the principal, and then everything else goes down. But if you pay the regular 30 years, the first 20 years is paying down the interest. The only money you get out of the house is inflation, how much the house inflates. Now they need a new plan. They need a new plan. No, they don't need a new plan. They got the human being is technically not necessary anymore. We're not necessary. So when we're not necessary, the people that run the society make cost-benefit analysis, right? What's the benefit of these people? What's the cost of keeping them? Anytime the costs get anywhere close to the benefits, if we get rid of 1 billion people, why good, that'll do this, that'll do that, and who needs them anyway?
That's pretty much what they said.
That's exactly what they said. We're living in a horror story. This is a damn horror story. And our people are standing out on the porch, urinating on the grass. This is technically a horror story that we're living through right now. And we have a chance to put our package together or leave it up to people like Donald Trump. Leave it up to those people that they don't have a soul. They don't have, don't. They don't have a soul. This is a jihad against the shaitan. The shaitan controls almost everything. That's why we trust in Allah. See, that's why we are hopeful and optimistic, because basically God is on our side. So let me, since I start talking, do y'all mind if I just talk a little bit and then okay, that's what I'll do. Okay, we'll just go down the thing. Overexposure, globally Iran forced to center stage. Okay, let's look at a few interesting things. Remember we talked about certain alliances that, Iran, Syria, Iraq, the strategic alliances, and we talked about Russia and all of that. Okay. Now, why did we talk about that? We talked about that because the same reason we talk about boss man here. The more we talk about him, the more he does to us. The more we talk about boss man, the more he does. Why? Because the more he does, you have to evolve to deal with him. And it's like a strategic exposure. You ever remember we always talked about Iran and As-Sabiqun have a symbiotic relationship. Definitely it's true. Right now, this is what Iran said. we had 2 viruses and you only had 1. And we're outperforming you. Guess who's watching? The whole world. What's the world seeing? They're seeing Yemen, Venezuela, Iran, I heard something about North Korea today, so they ain't gonna let the world go by and they not be Kim Jong-un is just not gonna play that. He didn't jump back to center stage. Not center stage, but you know, he ain't our homeboy, but he ain't they homeboy either, like the North Koreans. But that young guy, he keeps these white folks running around in circles. You know why? He knows what their whole thing is, and everybody knows what he knows is right. They want to keep American troops in Korea. Why? Because they have atomic weapons in South Korea. And from South Korea, they have China, Japan, everybody's over there, right? That's control of Asia. As simple as that. So why you think the North Koreans, they would be starving to death if it wasn't for that 900-mile border that they have with Korea. Every time a fog come in, they got all the trains loaded up in China and they go across the border to Korea. All the time, the place is just, you know what I mean? It's automatic. They also have another relationship. I don't know if y'all ever heard of Chosin Reservoir in Korea. Anybody ever heard of that?
I saw the documentary.
You see them Chinese, they had summer uniforms up in that ice cold, blisters on their feet and everything, because China sent them there. You know, that's in 1951. Okay. Why? Because they come up too close to China, the Yalu River. So the Chinese and the North Koreans have always had a relationship. Some manipulate a little bit here and there, but still, hey, China already knows